The Chinese work culture and thinking towards hard work are changing dramatically. Let it rot, or Bai Lan in Chinese, and lie flat, or Tang Ping, are two rallying cries among Chinese youth, frustrated by the Chinese labor market and greater societal demands. The youth have effectively given up. They have quit their jobs and have resorted to doing nothing. But how did we get here? What started this movement, and what does it mean to the future of the Chinese economy? China consistently ranks high in the world for the highest daily stress rate, with 55%, while 37% of the population worries on a daily basis. And when we look back in time, it appears that everyone was deceived. You've probably heard stories of China's depressing past during Chairman Mao Zedong's leadership in 1949, when China's GDP per capita was just $165. However, China's transition from a poverty-stricken country to the world's second biggest economy and according to the World Bank, the fastest sustained expansion by a major economy in history, was achieved through the sweat of older residents hoping for a brighter future for their children. When Deng Xiaoping took over the leadership of his predecessor in 1978, he pushed his people to work hard to become China's first prosperous citizens and not to let their descendants suffer as they had. 40 years later, the mission has caught up with the youngsters, and the youths are already experiencing the difficulty that their parents experienced. Despite the government's riches, the government's great desire has clouded the vision of the youngsters, and the bright future that was dreamed of now appears to be simply a dream. To understand the setting of the creation of this new culture of laziness, we must first examine how the COVID-19 pandemic affected the vast majority of people. 2 years after the implementation of strict limitations, China's economy has an unemployment rate of around 19.3% among the age range of 16 to 25. This corresponds to over 15 million unemployed young people, nearly double the number in the United States. In what was meant to be an encouraging speech, China's President Xi Jinping declared in May 2022 that China's hope lies in the youth. He urged the country's young to incorporate great ideals into their own aspirations. However, the working young of China today have a very different approach to their goals. The government funded $557 billion in youth education in 2021, which was 2.3% more than the previous year. It paid off in 2022, generating a record-breaking 10.8 million university graduates. This is fascinating until we learn that the increase was induced by communist government directives rather than market forces. Graduates are now left with a certification that does not guarantee them to work, as the youth unemployment rate has risen to 19.9% in June 2022, up from 15.4% the previous year. The predicament does not appear to be limited to graduates. Hired workers are also being laid off as a result of state intervention as Chinese authorities implemented strict new laws aimed at reining in private enterprises and maintaining social harmony. It's as though two elephants are fighting, and the grass, which appears to be the youth, receives the brunt of the blow. In Beijing, a $120 billion business, which includes 90% of off-campus and online teaching, was officially prohibited. And as a recent college graduate who is still unemployed, there is nothing to do but let it rot. Again, millions of small companies have remained closed due to the zero-COVID policy. 14,000 gaming-related enterprises have closed, and it is exceedingly difficult for young people to establish their own businesses owing to various prohibitions and financial difficulties. This has resulted in a hyper-competitive employment market in which citizens compete for exceedingly unpleasant positions, such as working 300 hours per month, or for firms that use the 996 working model, which is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, and many employees have died as a result of it. China's housing market illustrates the withering of the Chinese dream, going from lying down to let it rot. In China, buying a home is the ultimate symbol of fulfillment. On the surface, the situation appears to be favorable. 87% of households own their own home, and 20% own multiple homes. However, the situation is terrible for young people, and many of them are unable to buy their own houses. Land speculation has caused prices to skyrocket, threatening the economy with a property bubble. Rents have grown unreasonably costly, particularly in major cities like Shanghai and Beijing. Many young individuals have opted to scale back their objectives in this context. In recent months, the word Tang Ping, or lying flat, has been making the rounds on social media, with the concept being to abandon the pursuit of achievement in favor of a simpler lifestyle. The idea arose from a 2021 viral blog post by Lao Huazong, a young man who told how he abandoned his job. Lao quit his job as a factory worker in China, biked 13 miles from the Sichuan province to Tibet, and decided he could get on by odd jobs and $60 a month from his savings. He called his new lifestyle lying flat. "I have been chilling," Mr. Lao 31 wrote in a blog post in April, describing his way of life. "I don't feel like there's anything wrong." He titled his post, "Lying Flat is Justice," attaching a photo of himself lying on his bed in a dark room with the curtains drawn. Before long, the post was being celebrated by Chinese millennials as an anti-consumerist manifesto. Lying Flat went viral and has since become a broader statement about Chinese society. "After working for so long, I just felt numb, like a machine," Mr. Lao said in an interview, "and so I resigned." Since then, stories of dissatisfaction with the rat race have spread on the internet, but Chinese censors have quickly removed them. T-shirts featuring the word "lying down" quickly became popular before quickly disappearing from online stores. According to a study conducted by the Chinese social media platform Weibo, between May 28th and June, 3.61% of those polled were willing to embrace the lying down attitude. In recent months, the rallying cry has shifted from lying flat to let it rot. The idea is that if you're asked to do something at work, you'll avoid it, and if you have to do it, you'll put in the least amount of effort possible. Let it rot has grown in popularity in recent months. By the end of September, the original Mandarin phrase "bailan" had received roughly 2.3 million hits on Xiaohongshu, China's equivalent to Instagram. Videos with the tagline "Let it rot" are now the most popular on Bilibili, the equivalent of YouTube. Surprisingly, the misery of the middle class has sparked occasional rallies, with marchers defying the CCP's harsh repression of any kind of popular contestation. In May and June, thousands of people demonstrated in China's central Henan province after 4 tiny rural banks failed. People faced with bankruptcy flocked to the streets to demand their frozen funds. Due to the economic crisis, thousands of property developers unexpectedly halted building earlier this year. Calls for homebuyers to stop paying mortgages on the new homes they had been waiting for flooded social media. So what does this mean for President Xi Jinping's rule? While young Chinese renouncing expectations and desiring more free time may not seem like much of a protest, doing nothing has become one of China's most serious crimes. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, and President Xi Jinping have made remarks that reflect this, encouraging young people to work hard, dream big, and stay dedicated to Chinese socialism. The Chinese youth are the vanguard against the challenges facing our nation on the road to rejuvenation, Xi declared at a ceremony marking the centennial of the Communist Youth League of China in May. The acceptance of Teng Teng and Bailan, as well as statements from Chinese authorities, come at a time when numerous crises appear to be converging. Teng Ping and Beilai are thus directly contradicting the CCP's directives. While Xi encourages young people to imagine big and work hard to attain their goals, Teng Ping focuses on reducing expectations and work intensely. And whereas Xi emphasizes rallying around CCP-formulated patriotic ideas, Teng Ping is about individuals finding peace inside themselves. As a result, CCP and Chinese official media spokesmen have labeled Teng Ping as disgraceful and disloyal. Yu Minhong, a billionaire tutoring company owner, has gone so far as to say that lying flat is a threat to China's future. However, the attacks on lying flat have not been restricted to rhetoric. Last year, the New York Times obtained a directive from China's internet regulator directing websites to limit new Teng Ping posts rigorously. As a result, the CCP is unlikely to allow the trend to develop into a political movement that may challenge the party or Xi's control, who just achieved an unprecedented third term in power at a party congress.